This is episode 229 of the Wildlife Photography Podcast. In this episode, cheetahs should not be on vehicles. Hey everybody, my name is Gerry, I'm from Walt and I, and last week Johan and I sat down and we recorded a podcast which is kind of a follow-up to one of the previous ones that I did. I can't actually remember right now which one it was, but I will link it up for you in the description. It has to do with cheetahs, especially in East Africa, jumping on vehicles and how the local guides and photographic guides manage that. Now, I've made my feelings pretty clear on the matter. I think it's just wrong. And I think guides who allow that, or even worse, guides who go looking for it, should just be banned from parks out and out. But Johan had an experience in the Serengeti where he and Marlon was hosting a safari, I think it was in February or March. And they had a female cheetah with three sub-adults, who approached the vehicle. They tried to jump on the vehicle. And Johan, I chatted to Johan about that whole sighting. And we also look at some videos which Marlon, who was in the sighting with him, got of it. So if you're listening on the podcast, you can head over as well to YouTube and to our Instagram TVs where you can check out the videos. But here we go. A chat with Johan on not only cheetahs on vehicles, but just kind of guiding ethics in general. Hope you guys enjoy. Johan, how's it going?
Gee, good on you, man.
Lekker.
Good.
Where was your last trip?
When was my last trip? I did a private to Madikwe, Monopools, and also Wangi.
And again, I said to Mike yesterday, it feels like I haven't seen you in weeks.
It's been all over the place.
Madness.
Yeah.
Madness. So, I'm going to lead this in and just tell a bit of a story from Svalbard as well. Watch this link. So, you mentioned that you had the incident in the Serengeti with cheetahs. Give me a short description of what that was.
So, basically, we had the cheetahs. I'm sure we'll dive into the story a little bit later on, but it's cheetahs jumped on the vehicle, and it was just, I think it was something that I've wanted to experience to understand how I will react, and happy that Marlon was with me on the trip, and happy that both of us reacted the same way and felt the same way about the whole
Did you
thing.
get a cheetah selfie?
No.
Good.
Didn't.
Okay. So we're going to dive deep into this. Now, I've been very vocal about guides specifically. I'm talking about the driver guides in Kenya and East Africa as a whole, who go and look for that. The problem is there are now guests who are also asking for that.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to your story. But just to kind of and I hope this comes off right. When we were in Svalbard now, we had one particular sighting. And in Svalbard, they've got very specific bear rules. You can't get too close to Svalbard. So on a Zodiac, we got quite close. And the guys got shots and stuff. And one of my clients posted an image on Instagram as soon as we got back because they're excited. They're basically peeing their pants. They're so excited, right? And someone from Longyearbyen commented on it and said, "Oh no, you were too close. This is disrespectful." And she just roasts the soak.
No.
I struggle to keep quiet at the best of times, so I go and answer her.
Yeah.
And I said to her, you know what, this is fine. We were sticking to the rules. And she also dissed the guides without knowing. There was no context.
Exactly. It happens
and
a
she
lot.
dissed the guides should be fine. And she goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And so I replied to her, and she comes back and she does the same kind of vibe. And it felt to me like, she said, yeah, but we're teaching the bears the wrong thing. And we didn't take its welfare into account and blah, 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 long story. And I said to her, you know what, you must understand that I've been in the wildlife industry for 15 years.
Yeah.
I've been running trips in Svalbard for 8 years now.
Yeah.
We as a company, the guys I work with, we're ethical, right? And this is going to link to your story. So I said to her, there was such a situation where the thing walked. We knew he was going to walk from there across these rocks to there.
Yeah.
That would put him within the accepted minimum distance. Was he stressed? No, he was not. Would he have been more stressed if we turned the vehicle on the Zodiac, and go and back off? Yes. So there has to be context around this.
Absolutely.
The problem is that there are too many, and this is I think when we get to your story now, there are too many keyboard warriors who think that because they have internet access and an Instagram account, they are now animal experts.
Absolutely.
And that irritates the piss out of me. I struggle with it. And I was sitting with Brendan in base camp when we got back. So he posted this picture, and this guy's next level. I mean, this is his first wildlife tour ever.
Yeah.
Not his last. Brendan, you're coming back for more. But and then he posts this thing, ridiculous shot, absolutely amazing shot, and then someone comes back and it's like, and I felt sorry for him because
it's a downer,
it's a downer because there is someone who is perceived in inverted commas like knows what she's talking about. I say she doesn't. I don't live there, but we run trips based on animal welfare, and I know we did the right thing. It's the same with if an elephant bull is coming down you at the road in South Africa. If you're a Fani Veldkenner, then you rev your car and you drive up to him. That is seen as a raw and a charge. It's an aggressive movement. There are times when you have to be quiet. So we had a bit of an exchange on Instagram forward and back, and then she went into Facebook, and I just said to the guys, just ignore it, just walk away. We know we did the right thing.
Exactly.
So, to me, the same thing with all of these cheetahs jumping on vehicles. I've been vocal, and I think guys who do that are fucking idiots. I've said it out.
100%.
I think guests who encourage their driver guys to do that, they're idiots. But I blame the guides more because they should be the ones educating and saying, no, sorry, Johan, we cannot let this thing jump on the car because there are the reasons. It's blurring a line. So, for those of you listening on the podcast of just audio, what we're going to do is we actually have got a whole bunch of cameras in front of us. We feel like celebrities.
It looks like CCTV, CNN.
So what we're going to do is we're going to run this on YouTube and on Johan's and on my Instagram TV. And Johan's got video of the incidences we're going to discuss. So it'll be overlaid on there. So if you're on the podcast, you want to jump ship now, check what the timestamp is, move across to YouTube or one of our Instagram TVs, watch it there. But we're going to keep going as if it's a podcast anyway. So in short terms, you in the Serengeti, when was this?
This was in end of February, beginning March this year.
Right, tell the story, what happened?
So, I mean, I think it was our last destination, which was Namiri Plains, so sort of northeastern part of the Serengeti. And we found this female cheetah with, I got to remember now, I think it was 4 or 5 sub-adult cubs.
Proper sighting.
Yeah, probably about maybe close to a year old. And again, it's funny enough that you mentioned our animal behavior. We saw a termite mound in the distance. And I mean, we know it's so flat in that area that they look for elevation to scan the open plains. So we asked our guy to park on the other side of the termite mound, waited for the cheetahs to get to the termite mound. They got up, and
so the animal behavior prediction played out. Guests got the shot. No lines blurred.
Nothing at all. They then moved towards us, and I was standing up.
Okay.
My guests were all sitting down, getting low angles of the cheetahs walking towards us.
So just for purposes of people on the podcast, when you say you're standing up, just describe the vehicles you use.
Yeah, so it's got these pop-up roofs in East Africa. So it's not your sort of open game view like you have in Southern Africa. There's these pop-up roofs that you can stand up, and it basically gives you a nice sort of lookout. I was basically looking for moments for my guests, which cheetahs to capture, because there's so many
see
of
from
them.
the top what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, long story short, I think it was, I'm trying to remember, I have to actually look at the video to remember the whole story, but the mom walked in front of the vehicle, and then I couldn't see what's happening at the back because of the 2 spare tires are mounted at the back. You can't actually see what's going on right behind the vehicle.
If you're looking out the back window, you actually see the tire, you can't see past it.
Exactly.
How many vehicles in the sighting?
We were 2. It's only my vehicle and Marlon's vehicle. And I heard these scratches on the canvas of the spare tire. And next minute I knew there was this cheetah that was right on top of this. No, one of the sub-adults.
Okay.
And that was right on top of this tire and basically just peeking at me from above the roof.
So now this thing, so your car's standing there, mom in front, where are the other babies?
Some of them walked in front and some of them were around sort of next to the vehicle.
And then the one is on the vehicle, the tire's mounted on the back and the thing sitting on top of this.
Yes.
Not on the car roof yet, just on the tire.
Just on the tire. So my first reaction was then just to tap the window at the back. It's obviously glass, so...
I have to ask, I asked you this before, did you get a cheetah selfie?
No, I didn't.
Good, okay.
I didn't.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. And I mean... I've never experienced this myself, as I said. It's been something that I sort of always, I think it always comes in the conversation when you're in East Africa with clients and cheetahs. So we did discuss it beforehand with...
you did, eh?
Maybe even like a week or so before that. I think when we were still at Ndutu, we discussed it with the guests. So there was kind of like everyone agreed to this, or everyone knew sort of what our thoughts were around it.
Out of interest, sorry to interject, what was the guest's thought on it? I mean, was there, because I know people, Mike went to Serengeti or to Best of Kenya once, and people actually asked for that.
Yeah.
Were your guests, did they want it? Did they not know about it?
I think the first reaction was one of like sort of like fun and a bit of laughter. But I think everyone understood, and I think we're going to go and explain the why we moved away afterwards. But once we explained that to the guests, everyone was very happy with it.
Of course.
Everyone respected the decision and totally agreed with what we did. So basically, when the cheetah was on the vehicle, basically, like I mentioned, just tapped the window a little bit and then asked the guy to just start the vehicle and just let it idle. And I mean, the young cheetah eventually then jumped off and
did you start driving for it to jump off, or
just idle?
Engine start off.
Engine start. And then once the vehicle started idling, the cheetah then jumped off. Obviously, I think the vibrations on the tire didn't fancy too much, jumped off. But I mean, we didn't leave the sighting there as such. We were now sort of prepared for what was going to happen.
Are you on the road?
We're on the road, yeah.
Okay.
Moved a little bit further on, where it was like a sort of like a game path. And then another set of termite mounds. We stopped there again, and same thing happened. They posed onto this termite mound again, but we knew now that they wanted to jump on these vehicles.
Yeah.
So as soon as they got to, I think it was within 2 meters, again, just asked the guy to start the vehicle, move away, and just avoid the whole situation.
Did turning the car on when they came again, was that enough to make it go away, or didn't it really frighten you? Had to move?
No, you had to move. I think if we had sort of just started the vehicle and switched off again, they would have jumped up again, I'm sure.
Unbelievable.
But it's, I mean, we can go to the why moving away, I think, is so important. You know, I think you...
But before we're going to go down that rabbit hole in a big way. When this happened, 2 questions. So, I mean, I know where you're at. I mean, even if I didn't know the story, I would have backed you 300% because I know that's how we and you operate. What was when the second time happened? So the guests were now aware that these cheetahs do and can very likely jump on the car.
Yeah.
It's very easy in a group to say, oh, no, it's bad, don't do this. Was there anybody that was kind of intrigued by it and said, no, let's do it? And second question is the guide, your local guide.
Yeah.
Would he have done the same if you weren't there?
So I think the guests' reaction to it, I mean, look, I think there is something spectacular about it. There's absolutely no doubt about it. There is something amazing when an animal comes into your environment, and we're going to come to that because that's a lot of people's argument that he's coming into your environment. It's all fine, but I think people also realize that it can go from funny to not so funny very, very quickly. So
truth.
And then also from a photographic point of view, I mean, if we're totally honest with ourselves, any animal when it comes and moves that close to you, what kind of images are you actually going to get?
Sure.
A lot of the times guests were just videoing the whole thing because, I mean, there's cheetahs, I think it was 5 of them in total. So it's very difficult to single out a single moment. So most of the time the guests were just taking videos with our phones. The guide, I honestly don't think he would have moved away.
Did he say anything? Look, just disclaimer, I'm not dissing on this guy.
No,
I'm just curious because there is an epidemic, and I think there is an epidemic in East Africa where a lot of the local guides try and do that specifically to entertain their guests. Why? Because they will get bigger tips.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we work with the guys from Masai Wanderings, and we know Donna, the owner, very well. And the guys are very good. The thing is, I'm not sure if he's ever been told to move.
Sure.
I'm not sure. And I mean, again, it's nothing against these guys. It's just, that's what they're used to. It jumps in the vehicles and people love it. Like you say, often get a big tip out of it, the whole thing. The first time I said move away, you could see there was a bit of a funny sort of look on, like,
from him or the guest.
From him.
Yeah.
Like, why? But then I think when he heard me speaking to the guest, he sort of understood, and I hope that when he has clients again in the next week or the next year, whenever, if he's faced with that same situation, that he'll do the same thing. Why? If he would, I don't know, but
this is
hopefully and I think that's what essentially, if you're a guide, that's what the word means. You've got to guide your clients, and you've got to guide people that are less educated or maybe not as
100%.
educated as.
I mean, as a guide, we know, we've been there, we've sat in that vehicle. As a guide, you need to be a storyteller, a comedian, a
100%.
Guide, a teacher, an educator, inspiration sometimes. You listen to people's bullshit.
Exactly.
If you're one-on-ones where people like really unpack in the car and then they go away. So
Open up,
you're a bit of everything.
Yeah.
But I don't think, and look, East Africa, Tanzania, Kenya, their guide qualification structure is very different to what we do here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they go down, because and help me if I'm wrong here, I don't know if you know this, I think in Kenya, if you do the first level, a lot of it is focused more on who's the Minister of Tourism, who's the da-da-da-da.
Exactly.
Because of the nature of the safari industry there, they're not spending time lodge-based. These guys drive 6-7 hours. They're going to talk to the clients about shit. They need stuff to talk about.
And they often pick them up in Nairobi and sort of drive through the towns.
So they don't necessarily go that deep on the ethics. But there's a part of me, and I do mean this with the biggest amount of respect, they want to rip their faces off when they do stuff like this.
Yeah.
But I am very, very sympathetic to the situation they must find themselves in. They don't all have a Johan in the car that he can listen to and explain, oh, okay, this is why I need to do it. These guys sometimes pick up people who do not speak the language, English or Swahili for that matter.
Yeah.
And the same goes with river crossings and cheetahs, is they sit there and they might say to the guests, Chinese, Spanish, whatever, right? Say to them, no, we can't go there.
Yeah.
Next thing is these people start getting sometimes aggressive with the guide, and they're waving dollar bills in his face.
Yeah.
So then the safari industry goes busier. The top guides are all busy. The new guys who start coming in is just a driver. He couldn't give two fucks about whatever the ethics is. He's just taking the cash, man.
Exactly.
And that then we're going deep here. Then the clients get that. They get the selfies. There's that one chick, I don't know if you saw this video on Instagram, where it looks like she was standing out of the vehicle and the cheetah's on the roof. Wild. And she's like taking a video and this thing's licking her ear. And she's like, oh, this is so amazing. He's going to bite you.
Yeah.
And then it's his fault.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that guy who let it get to that point.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's breathe for a bit. I'm going to have a sip of coffee. Let's start from scratch. For people who are listening here, they want to come on safari. They now listen to you and me saying that, and why they want to come on safari is because they were on Instagram, scrolling, they thought, ooh, look, a lion. Let me follow the hashtag, wildlife photography. Ooh, look, get to a cheetah in a vehicle. Think, this is cool. Hey, Sorrel, come and check this out. I want to go here. That becomes the selling point. Now, by some luck, they find this podcast, they listen to you and me talking about how bad it is and this shouldn't happen. Why? Why should cheetahs on vehicles not happen?
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think the thing that irritates us the most is, like you say, it's often these people that are almost wildlife influencers, if you can call it that. There are guides, that are travel agents that run these safaris for these people that have never been to Africa, who are actually promoting this
100%.
this behavior. And that's what, if you're coming to Africa for the first time and you, I don't know, driving your own vehicle and things, and you do this, then I don't even think you're forgiven then, because there's so much available now from a social media point of view.
100%.
Google, yeah.
But let me ask you this. So we'll get to this. I like this jumping around thing. It works for me. So you've never seen a polar bear in your life?
No.
Okay. I bet you everything I have that if I put you there with a polar bear and he's aggressive, you'll know.
Yeah. I'm not going to let him jump in my Zodiac.
You just know. And people are aware of this if they allow themselves to be, but they they get so caught up in taking the selfie or this.
Yeah.
You know when an animal, look at your dog at home, the body language, the tail tucks under, the head drop down, submissive, scared.
Yeah.
It works the same.
Exactly.
But so people mustn't come with, I didn't know. I'm sorry. The more we talk about this, the more excited I'm going to get. So I apologize for that. But
it's also then, if you do it as a travel agent or as a guide, if you really have to go do it, then don't post it on social media.
100%. Yeah.
That's. It's almost, it's not borderline. It is arrogant, and it's. I think it's just stupid as a travel company that's supposed to educate people, to post it on social media platform. It basically says, I don't care that I'm doing wrong.
100%.
I'm going to use this as a way to try and get you into Africa and
But now check this. Let's go further down this rabbit hole. There are now people, and this is the funny thing to me. There are companies, let's call them ABC Safaris. I hope there's not someone like that. There is, African Bush Camp. Shit.
Not you guys.
You guys rock. XYZ Safari.
Yeah.
Right. They open this Instagram account. They officially run safaris. They book people to go on safari.
Yeah.
You look at their feed. They go for the most sensationalist crap out there. These things. What they do, I love this, is caption this.
Yeah.
I want to write, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
But they do this. They do the things of all these wildlife influencers who are now coming to Africa and they're hugging hyenas and this and that shit.
Walking with lions.
And they're using that stuff to get the attention, to make sales, to send people on a safari where they as the agents probably never been without educating the people.
Yeah. And that could often be, for a lot of people, that could be their one only experience in Africa.
And it probably will be because it's going to be a fuck up.
Yeah.
It's not right.
No, exactly. 100%. 100%.
Wow. Anyway, why shouldn't it happen?
So to give you the scenario I gave to the guests. So for those of you that have been into East Africa, it is predator heaven. I mean, there's bigger prides of lions and bigger clans of hyenas than I think most parts of Africa. So just to give you guys a bit of a scenario, if this cheetah had to jump on the tire, I'll try and include a photo of what the shape of the vehicle looks like. But just above the tires, you've got the rim of the roof where the roof then pops up. And there are photos of a lot of the cheetahs going on there.
Yeah, they sit in the back there.
Yeah. And around the roof, there's a thin railing that basically holds the pop-up structure together. Now, imagine that cheetah, like I said, 3 scenarios. The cheetah slips and his foot gets stuck in there. He breaks that leg. He or she breaks that leg. She falls down. She's now got 4 cubs that she has to look after. So she won't be able to hunt, right? And with all the other, let's say by some miracle, there's a baby gazelle that's by itself, and one of the sub-adults managed to catch it. They then try and feed. It's only a matter of time before hyenas or lions arrive there.
It's like this, man.
She's not going to be able to survive.
No, she's done.
So she's dead. Her cubs, who are now a year old, they're not going to be able to survive because they can't hunt themselves.
Yeah.
So you've basically killed 5 cheetah in a space of 1 minute for your selfie. Other scenario is, same thing, the cheetah jumps on the top. It tries to move around, it slips. You sitting or standing in the back seat. And like you say, I mean, you don't need to be a genius. If you have a house cat and you see them trying to climb up things, they kick with their hind legs.
They lose their shit, man.
And they try and get that momentum to get up. If you're in the way, you're going to be ripped apart. And it always happens. It's always the animal's fault that the animal gets shot. And
yeah, because it's a human killer.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
And, those are 2 very, very realistic scenarios that can happen in the blink of an eye. Other scenario is, it slips and falls and it gets stuck there. And how are you gonna help it out? You're not gonna be able to just grab it by the leg and pull it out. That animal will rip you apart. As much as people think that cheetahs don't really hunt primates or see humans as food, when it's injured and it's going to try and defend itself, it's going to cause damage. And I think it's just something that is totally unnecessary and it can be avoided so easily.
But if you look at, and I'm going to put this on the record, I'm not a cat fan. Big cats in the wild, love. House cats, devils. Literally.
Can't do
they are like little furry devils with lots of claws walking around. I think they feel my vibe. Right? I've literally sat on someone's couch with them watching TV. The cat is sitting there, and for no reason, this thing would attack you. It's like, what the hell, Fluffy? What's your problem, man? So now you've got this cheetah sitting at the top. People need to understand that animals have what's called a fight or flight zone. That thing's up there. You now back up, because everyone do that. You back up because I want to get the selfie, right? So you're backing up. You're going to get inside a zone where that animal's not comfortable.
Exactly.
More than likely, at that distance, they're going to lash out at you. There was that one, and then again it comes back to, like you said, now it's the animal's fault. No, you're an idiot. There was the one video, and it was in one of these East African cars as well. I don't know where it was, but the guide actually filmed this for his client, and the client, there was a hell of a backlash on this one. So the guide in the front right-hand side, so he's turned around, obviously filming the guest. There's not the first row, there's the second row and then the third row.
Yeah.
This guy, elderly gentleman, is sitting in the middle row. Then there's a cheetah which jumped in through the window, biting and clawing the headrest next to where this guy is sitting. So here's this elderly gentleman with a smug smile on his face. The guide, you can hear him whispering, "Oh, this is amazing, this is amazing." The cat is tearing the headrest apart. Your head is next.
Yeah.
Right? It's just, really?
Yeah.
It got a lot of likes on Instagram, though.
No, sure it did.
That's amazing. There's just, and then when we start, so now we know those cheetahs do it.
Yeah.
Next guys come, it jumps up again, and they get the natural fear that I believe we have to have for each other.
Yeah.
Animals to us, us to animals. I believe it has to be there.
Yeah, 100%.
That's now gone because they're going to come and look for a car to jump on because it's high, it's easy to jump on, but then all the other things happen.
Yeah.
It blows my mind how many companies still push that as their selling point.
And I wonder, I mean, the only operators that I personally know is Donna from Masai Wanderings, and I know that she would back what we did 100%. But I don't know how much of that is, if the guide says to the client, "Listen, we're not going to do this, we're going to pull away," and they complain, how much backing do they get from their operator, from the CEO or whoever?
100%, good point. They must they almost need like a code of conduct from top level down. But, and I mean, I'm more afraid with the Kenyan kind of operations, deep level, and how it works. Then you got these massive companies who have fleets of 400 cars. They just want bums and seats.
Yep, 100%.
And they say to the guides, "Go do your thing." If you look at how they treat the crossing sometimes, how they treat these cheetah, how they treat any sighting, I mean, and then you got a $200 note waving around in the guide's face, which is how much? 20,000 shillings, 200,000 shillings or something? That is like 2 weeks worth of salary for this dude.
Exactly.
But if it doesn't come from the top down, it's not going to work.
No, exactly.
I'm just thinking now, how stupid people can be. That there was a story in the Kruger, but it's way back. It's like 9-10 years ago. Well, there's the two. There was one over a December period where they actually stopped because you can either live in the Kruger, and then or you come in for a day trip.
Yeah.
And they started stopping day trip because there was just too many people going in.
Oh, yeah.
So if you weren't first in, then it was one of those times. Yeah. And they also then banned alcohol for day trip drivers,
I think
right?
I know which you can.
So
for good reason.
Ja, brandewyn and Coke brew uit 'n Coke bottle.
Yeah.
So they did this, but you couldn't have it at picnic stops.
Yeah.
They didn't look. So, okay, you're not allowed to bring alcohol in, but have a nice day. But nobody
exactly.
checked. But what happened was these two separate cars obviously had their own Brownows and Coke in the car. There was a lion sighting where a lion Kruger sighting, how many cars? 40?
Yeah.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
So these lions are off the road, literally like 3 meters off the road. I'm sure we'll find it on YouTube if we look for this. And the one guy parks, and now there's cars everywhere. You got to jostle. It's like this guy starts shouting at that guy. So now there's other people here. Zero respect. So, "Hey, your master," and they're shouting at each other, right? They end up, both of these guys get out of the car and they have a full-blown fist fight in the middle of the road there. Yeah. Lions off the side of the road. Now, I don't know why I told you that, but that actually happened. I'm going to try to find the video.
We have to go.
If I find the video, I'll put it on the video here. But then the stuff that happens is, and this to me, surely you want to, and let's look at it. Wildlife photographers. I was up in Svalbard now, and they don't collar polar bears, right? A male polar bear's neck is too thick and the head comes down.
Yeah.
Females, sometimes, I haven't luckily seen one with a collar, but they get these ear tags. Lions, cheetahs, they often get collared in Africa. I don't like it personally to the point where I won't even photograph it. I literally will not photograph it because to me, you're in my job. And what we have to share with our clients is to try and share the romance that is Africa.
Yeah, 100%.
I want to try and get an image and I want to get an experience for my clients which shows animals in their natural environment.
Exactly.
That does not, in my mind, include a collar. Now, I'm not dissing collars.
No.
Research, great, 100%.
Has its place.
It's my choice.
Yeah.
And when we do find that in the wild, it makes for very good conversation. Yeah. And then we can do what we do. We guide and we educate.
Yeah.
Right? But why would you want an image of a cheetah on a vehicle?
Yeah.
Well, apart from the Instagram likes. And if you're one of those people, you're an idiot.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
But it just blows my mind. So,
And
sorry. So the thing, coming back. So in the Kruger, there was this thing where, again, sighting, long tar road, round bush on the side of the road, leopard stuck in underneath, away from the. There's a video out there where the guy goes. Now there's like 30, 40 cars waiting for this thing to come out.
Yeah.
Where is it? Yeah, Sarel is here achter die boom. And all these people are talking.
Yeah.
That this guy slowly goes up, edges his it was a white Hilux into the bush, revs once or twice. This leopard goes gone, and these are like, yeah, saw it. Off they go.
Yeah.
Really?
And it's also it's amazing
on.
to say that. I mean, from a photographic point of view, I mean, you can look at every single image that you've got on your catalog, and you can almost sort of associate the feelings and things that you had when you
Every single one.
And I remember I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, Marlon and I were also in the Serengeti in a similar situation where we had two leopards that were mating, and we were all waiting outside, around this thicket, waiting for these two leopards to come out. And one vehicle also just went bang in the middle of that. And luckily my guest said, listen, we're happy to go, because now every time, even if we get amazing photographs, you're going to have that feeling of us stuffed up. You know, like, we shouldn't be doing this. It should always be animal behavior first. And it's, I think there's also interesting podcasts in the future that's going to come up exactly with that. You know, are photographers going a little bit too far? Are they pushing the boundaries?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And you know what? I like that you brought that up. Let's go there now.
Yeah.
The two things that's happening often now, and I don't know what it is, on Serengeti, are you connected all the time? You got internet all the time? Or
no, so a few camps here and there.
Okay.
So maybe out of the 13 days,
so
maybe
you're a little
like
bit
9 days.
disconnected.
Yes.
So Svalbard as well, off disconnected.
Yeah.
Most of my trips, like when I was up in Mara and Vic Falls, I consume, I don't produce much.
Yeah.
But when you come back after being offline, there's two things that's happening right now, especially in African wildlife photography. We can go into bears and foxes and all kinds of different things. Let's ice that for now.
Yeah.
Excuse the pun. You see what I did there? But in Africa is, number one, flash photography. You're joking.
Yeah.
You're absolutely joking. There's a time and a place.
Yeah.
There's certain animals you do, there's certain animals you don't. If you've got 6 people on a vehicle all firing flashes, you're an idiot.
Doesn't work.
It just, and are you going to get great shots?
No.
Really? It looks fake. It's a studio now.
Yeah.
Are you affecting the animal?
100%.
Yes. Then I'm going to throw back I'm going to defend myself. Oh, but they've got a tapetum lucidum and it's going to block. No. That would be for maybe one instance. You get,
or guys will say, we've been doing it for so long with these animals, they're used to it by now.
oh yeah, I've been beating up school kids for a long time, so that's fine now because I've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm sure there's like a certain, like a leopard doctor somewhere in the,
Yeah.
that just
So-
looks in the eyes and
Yeah. So there's the flash thing. I cannot remember that I have ever taken a flash with me on safari. I'm just kind of thinking out loud now. I don't think I have.
No.
I've taken it on things where I know we're going to do star trails because then you want to pop a flash.
Yeah.
But for wildlife, again, to me, and maybe I'm old school here. I'm getting old, but maybe it's, I want to document nature. If you're sitting next to me and we're having a Brunners and Coke on the car, we're checking this leopard, walking down, that's what I'm going to show you.
Exactly.
When you and I sit there, it's not going to be all lit up.
No.
Some people dig that kind of look, and that's fine. But damn, we need to balance this.
Yeah.
The other thing that's happening a lot, and then, then flashes at waterholes where things come closer.
Yeah.
I mean, so imagine you've got your bar, right? You chill. You work hard, you go home. Hey, Judy, how's it going, kids? High five, da-da-da. Yeah. You now want to just go and chill. You're like, let's say you're a rhino or a buffalo. You can be a buffalo.
Okay.
You walk up to your bar, you open the Brunner vein, you pour, and then suddenly there's this big-ass flash in your face. Bah!
On a head button.
It's going to be suitably aggressive. But that's it. Why? And I mean, people who've been listening to this for a long time, they kind of know where we come from. I always say it's about the experience of wildlife photography. If you judge your safari on the success of the image by the images that you get, you're losing.
Yeah.
It's the journey of getting it.
Yeah.
So okay, I think let's keep the flash one different for another one. Actually, Andrew's done some. He's spoken to some people about like Panthera and them.
Yeah.
Panthera, sorry, and how it actually does affect
100%.
the animals, right?
Definitely.
The other thing, let's move away from that now. The other one that I see a lot of, and the one thing that where this is happening, that we see, is low angle shots.
Yeah.
Now, low angle shots you can get one of a couple of ways. Number one, you get one of those beetle cam contraptions which drives up to the animal and takes a shot, which just pisses me off because then they show you these amazing shots of a leopard going, snarling.
And there's no skill involved.
Yeah, that's niks.
You just drive it up and you...
Yeah, but then they say to you, oh no, but this is a relaxed animal.
No.
Dude, that is a stressed cat.
Yeah.
So there's the beetle cam way.
Yeah.
There's camera traps, which now you have to get off, place it, come back. There's that. It's probably the best of the ways if you have to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then the other one is monopods out of vehicles. Right? Yeah. But people are, is there a way to do it? I think you can. It's the same as with drones.
Yeah.
Can drone photography be used? And I get this question a lot for the podcast. Can drones be used in wildlife photography?
Yeah.
I say yes, with a big but.
Yeah.
But it must not affect behavior,
Exactly.
which means the pilot, do you call it a drone pilot?
I suppose
Driver.
you can put a little star or
Yeah,
few
man.
epaulets.
Yeah, get a stewardess to bring you coffee or something. So it relies on a deep-seated ethical approach by the pilot person of that drone.
Yeah.
Most of us don't have that. Most reserves don't allow it because of that reason. Because people get a drone in the hand and to a little kid. I know, I've got one.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, how close can I? So can it be done? Yes. Should it be done? No.
Yeah.
Because of human error. So the same with these monopod things. They stick these things down, it's movement, and let's be honest, you're not going to hang it down there with a 600.
No, it's all wide angle.
Which means that thing has to be on you.
Very close.
And if you make a mistake, you are compromising the situation, not the animal.
Exactly.
So it seems like people are going again. I think one of the very first episodes, actually, of the podcast I did was gimmicks in wildlife photography. Why are people falling back on gimmicks and flashes and beetle cams? I hate that thing. Beetle cams, stuff like that, to get nice shots. Are we so desensitized just to good, solid wildlife photography?
I think it's exactly that. I think people are trying to... it's become like a competition. People are trying to get better images and trying to get different stuff. And I think we losing... we're losing from a sort of the impact that it's having on wildlife. And again, I think it's that message that that the guys that are leading these tours are sending out to people on social media. You know, if you're gonna do stuff like that, then do it and keep it to yourself. But I think by promoting it, you're giving the wrong message to the people, and it also gives like the expectation. I mean, if you take monopools for example. Sorry, I'm also.
No, I dig it. Go. Jumping's great.
I'm sure many of you have seen the photos of big elephant bulls coming up close to people in monopools.
Yes.
And people then see this and they think, okay, cool, I'm going to go to monopools. The first elephant I see, I can walk right up next to it because
I've seen it on Instagram.
Because this is mana.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people don't know is it's actually a handful of bulls that you can maybe do that. You know.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is when I was on that private now recently, I went with a guy from ABC actually, Alf, and one of the most knowledgeable walking guys.
I've walked with him, yes.
Phenomenal. And we had a big elephant bull that the guys know to be relaxed most of the time, but yet we still maybe had a distance of about 100 meters, 150 meters, and we watched him for about half an hour, maybe even 40 minutes. Watched him, and eventually Alf said, okay, cool, let's loop around.
But I mean, before you loop around, was that an amazing experience?
Unbelievable.
Done.
Unbelievable.
So already you've won.
Unbelievable experience.
Then you loop around.
And then we loop around, and again, from a distance, we saw his behavior was fine. And then he did walk 10 meters from us, maybe even 8 meters, I don't know. But at no stage did I feel, listen, this is wrong, this is dangerous, because you take all those elements, you consider all of it. And
100%.
Not once did the elephant give a head shake or... it was just, it's a beautiful experience.
So you
like
understood the behavior.
Yeah.
So now, let me ask you this. So I'm going to play devil's advocate as a client now. I said, okay, but listen, Johan, Gerry, you guys are talking about this. You're saying that if the elephant approaches you and he gets close by, that's okay. But cheetahs can't approach on their own and jump on the car. What's the difference then?
The difference is the impact that it can have on the animal.
Exactly.
You know, if that elephant walks, and what they'll usually do is when they get within a distance where they feel they don't want you there, they'll give you a head shake, or the head will go up and the ears will go up. Same thing with lions and things. So these animals will give you signs. Cheetahs won't. And a lot of people will say, well, the animal is so relaxed, it's coming into my space. But as soon as you make contact, that element that element of danger becomes so much higher. It's the same as like Elephant and Kruger, where I think you've seen some of those shots where the elephants sit on the roof.
Yeah, now yesterday again. Yeah.
And like, at what point do you realize you need to move?
Should never have come there.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, if you don't know about animal behavior, then come with us and we'll take you on safari.
There's that. I think, and I must remember now, I can't remember if this was Madikwe, when you and I were both still there, because that's where we met many years ago. If it was Madikwe, but there was a one stage, and I'm not sure if this was an official Fagasa rule or a reserve rule, but your job, duty, responsibility, privilege, pleasure is to take people out in a vehicle and bring them back safe.
Yeah.
There was a thing that the guy said, any animal that touches your vehicle, you are in full right to shoot.
Yeah, that was the Madikwe.
Was Madikwe, hey?
Yeah.
So let's just talk about this. So everybody that's going to email me now and say you can't shoot animals, calm down to a mild panic for me for a second. What it means is Madikwe was historically known for its angry elephants.
Yes.
For me, we could do a podcast one down on why. But and then what would happen, you would find a calm bull. And then he would walk past the car and he kind of move to look at you and he'll carry on. Then in the Sabi Sand, some of the things happened where there was one guide as well at one stage, which made his tracker, there was an elephant, hold onto the tusk and then he lifts him up and then down. And it was like, oh yay, people think this is amazing. The moment an animal touches the vehicle, you are compromised dramatically.
Yeah.
So the rule was, and I'm remembering this right, eh?
Yeah.
Where an animal that touches your vehicle
100%
is crossing a line, and you as the guide are then in full rights to black that thing.
Yeah.
Will you get in trouble afterwards? Probably, because you shouldn't have fucking been there.
Exactly.
But still, that shouldn't happen.
No,
it shouldn't happen. And now it's fine for you to jump on top.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things, and this is, I said to someone recently, I feel like a kind of gravifier. I just say the same thing over and over again, but it's because I believe in it.
Yeah.
Is when you go out into the wild places of the world, Serengeti, Mana, Pantanal, whatever, the privilege we have is of going there, a couple of things, watching wild animals.
Absolutely.
In the wild, doing what they do naturally, whether we are there or not.
Exactly.
The moment you as a photographer or as a tourist going on a safari, the moment you change behavior, you fail. End of story.
Yeah.
I've seen people, and this was in Madikwe as well, while I started, I think we were like our first or second year, so I'm busy. We stopped, it was just off from Flaypan, just a little bit to the east, with lions, they're sleeping in the bush. So I'm sitting on the side of the vehicle, I think Grant was actually driving me, and we're talking, and so we're sitting there waiting. There's no shot, so we just talk. This is it, talk about lion. So the next guy pulls in, the guide was useless though, I can't remember which lodge it was. He literally says, there's lions, they get 12-year-olds and they eat meat. That's your guiding, thanks bro, that's great. Anyway, so they said, we're talking, next thing, it's like, I hear something, like what? They were throwing ice blocks at the lion so that they would get up so that people can see it properly.
Yeah.
I might have lost my shit just a little bit.
I can imagine.
But that mentality of it is my right to see a lion when I go to Africa.
Yeah.
It's not.
No.
It's not your right to see anything. It's a privilege to see that. Yeah. You might go. How many times have you been to the Sabi Sands?
I don't know. Quite a few times.
Quite a few times, right? Have you seen leopards on every single drive?
Not every single drive.
High hit rate, but no.
No.
You could potentially go to Sabi Sands for 3 nights and not see a leopard.
Exactly.
Are you then being shortchanged? Are you?
No.
It's the wild.
Or you can see them just lying flat, sleeping in a bush.
That's
what they do.
Or you can walk out of your tent, your room, and there's one walking past.
Yeah.
It's their choice.
Yeah.
But people who expect these things, and it's not just about cheetahs jumping on vehicles, they expect sightings.
Yeah.
It's something that it's a common theme that I'm finding on a lot of people are talking about.
Yeah.
And I mean, Dennis, he did Svalbard 2 years in a row now. And he came back to Svalbard to see if we can get better polar bear sightings than last year. Which, if he asked me before this trip, I said, stay home. But we shot the lights out.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what? He was very aware that he could come back and be disappointed with not seeing polar bears.
Yeah.
Not even a good sighting, just any.
Yeah.
but everything else is amazing. That's why it's the experience.
Yeah, 100%. And it's, I think it's something that, you've got to manage those expectations when you, especially I think when you're going to new places, but even if you're going to the same place again, you, like you say, every single time is different. And I don't know, I just find if you're going with little to no expectations, you're going to just reap the rewards from the trip. Yeah.
I often ask guests, and normally not on the first day 3, 4 of the trip, say to them, hey, so we've had these amazing crossings or tigers or whatever it is, and you got some good shots. So now, if I ask you at this point, would you do this same experience without your camera? Would you? I've yet to have someone say they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because that means you're doing it for the right reason.
Absolutely.
Wildlife photography is more about photography or the love of photography than it is about wildlife.
Yeah.
That's wrong. People don't get it.
Exactly.
As a wildlife photographer, your first love is wildlife.
Yeah.
Photography is the benefit at the back end.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow, we're going deep on this.
That was deep.
Yeah, we should write that down. Let's just take a moment of silence quickly for me, please.
I hope it's recording.
Yeah. No, but it is. It's just, people want the quick fix. And I think what you say about the expectations, it's cool, but the expectation has to start, and it's a responsibility from the very top level.
Absolutely.
The company, like you said, the CEO, the staff manager, the guides manager, their head guide, all the way down to the guys on the floor who's driving that car who might potentially get a cheetah on it.
Yeah.
It has to go through it.
Yeah.
And then it's
100%.
responsible sharing, and stop the sensationalist crap on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, especially for new guys, I mean, I'm by no means saying that, and I'm sure yourself as well, when you start your guiding career, you do push the boundaries with certain things.
Grant and I have done some very stupid shit in the past, but never with guests.
Exactly. Never with guests, and it was never documented and put on social media. Like getting out in the vehicle and...
There was that Sugita elephant incident. Remember that thing?
Yeah, that. You don't do that.
Yeah,
don't go and drink and do it, and don't take your phone with you.
Yeah, bad. Yeah.
But we're not by any means saying that we're these angels and we've never done anything wrong, but we're just saying, for the message that it's giving to people that have not been on safari before,
Yes.
the message that you portraying is not a good one. And I think it's going to give people these preconceived ideas when they come on safari, maybe for the first or second time, that this is the way a safari is supposed to be, and it's not.
Let me ask you this, and I'll answer as well when you're done. Do you have images in your catalog from when you were guiding all the way to now when you came back from your last trip? Do you have images of incidences or of things where you pushed the boundary that you think was an interesting experience, but that you've never shared because of that reason?
100%.
Same here.
Yeah.
But I can know for a fact, apart the shit that Grant and I got up to. One day when I get Grant in the office, I'm going to record a podcast. It's going to be censored, man. Anyway, no, we didn't. Okay, we did some bad stuff, but we did. We're all, when you're young and stupid.
Yeah.
But in those instances, you find yourself in a situation in the bush, on a car, not many on a walk, because I'm in photography.
Yeah.
But where something happens where it's just an unfortunate series of events, not because of purely I wanted it to happen that way, but now you're stuck in the situation.
You got to sit it out. Yeah.
Then you photograph it, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
The guest with you photograph it. I've got those. I will never share it because I feel, and I'm sure you'll agree 100%, that I have a responsibility.
Yeah.
I have an audience.
Exactly.
I am trying to tell that audience what it's like to really come on safari.
Yeah.
Bad shit happens.
Yeah.
But this is what it's really about. If you and I go to New York now, oh, Johannesburg is so dangerous. We can get mugged 2 days into New York.
100%.
I'm shit scared on some of those streets, right? But they don't market that. They market and that's what I feel my responsibility is.
Exactly.
Is to show people the beauty, the awesomeness and stuff. So even though I have that, I won't share it.
Yeah.
So if you're going to email me, don't even ask. But what I do know is I left that situation having educated someone, at least one person, that this should not be.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. And I think, there's also people that will go to the extreme scale and say, listen, you can't drive in with your vehicle there because the animal is sleeping and vehicles shouldn't be... There's got to be a meeting point where, if we don't go to these places, then the animals are not going to survive either. So
I'm going to lead this in. You and I maybe touch base. When are you traveling again?
Only on the 7th of July.
Okay, so when I come back from Kenya, we must maybe do this one. there's a lot of people now saying, and this is a lot more for landscape, especially in the US, that we shouldn't share where we get the shots, specifically from a landscape point of view, because then everybody flocks there and it spoils the area. Okay, this one person who had a go at Brendan because of his polar bear shot said the same thing. Yeah, we don't need the tourists here. Okay, let's just pump the brakes for a second. What do you think drives conservation money? What drives the town you live in? So it's not an easy answer.
No.
It's the same as, should we tag where we see rhinos? 100% I do.
Yeah.
Because I can see it now, 15 minutes later, and then the keyboard warrior is like, oh, Gerry, you're an idiot. Because, no, you're an idiot. You've never been to Africa, so let's just, you stay in your cage for me, please. Right? But I think what you and I can maybe chat about next time, because this was fun, is do we share places we go to? And the landscape guys do a lot. They kind of pride themselves on finding new places that nobody shot, then they don't tell anybody.
Location is somewhere on the planet.
Yeah, and you're somewhere between an idiot and they're firing, eh? So, and then they don't tell people where it is because number one, they want to keep it to themselves and be the only person that has that shot. But also, and this is what they say, whether it's the real truth, I can't say, not to have everybody go there and spoil the area. Is there an argument for that? Sure.
Yeah.
Is it the right argument? I don't know. So maybe we'll throw that open next time.
It'll be an interesting one.
Yeah. So when you're traveling next, 7th July, where are you going?
7th of July, going to the Mara. So Mara season is around the corner.
Oh, so I'm there the week before you then. Yeah. Okay.
So excited to get back into the Mara to see all the guys and
stunning,
the
man.
camp. And there's a lot of boxes and things. So I think
a whole camp. You guys won't see it on the YouTube here, but the whole camp is basically in boxes here. Well, all the new stuff. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Johan, where can people get hold of you online and your email address, please?
So on Instagram, it's Johan van Zyl Photography. And then my email is Johan, so it's JOHAN @wild-eye.co.za.
That's it. So if anybody has questions on this or comments, and don't email him to ask him about the bad stuff he's done in the past either. He's not going to tell you. We might do, like, if we ever get to like episode 3 we get to 300, but to 500 and that, maybe we can.
If there's a few gin and tonics involved, then maybe.
Yeah, it could be interesting. Anyway, thanks, man. Great topic.
Gee, thanks
so for you guys listening on the podcast, thank you so much. If you've been watching on Instagram TV or YouTube, thank you as well. As always, love that you guys are tuning in. I love the engagement, the comments, the questions. It's like oxygen to me. Episode 230 is coming closer, and what I'm going to do this time, Johan doesn't know this, but I'm going to email everybody in the Wild Eye office and ask them for questions that I can then answer in episode 230 because it's a Q&A. And then from 240, we'll get back to your questions. But thank you so much. Your engagement and questions is like oxygen, and I truly appreciate you lending us your ears and for tuning in for every episode. Guys, thank you so much. My name is Gerry.
My name is Johan.
We're from Wild Eye. We'll see you next time.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
guys. Cheers.